help the Royal Coin Chevrolet of Ryan Borges. He's now position number 4, starting to crawl up to catch up with second and third already in front of him. And then there's Cecil Rene. Don't count him out yet. All he needs is a little hint of that aero package that they got up there. All he needs is a little hint of that draft that those guys are creating, and Cecil Rene could turn this party from a 4-truck party into a 5-truck party very quickly. Accardi continues to lead. Heck, Bark, Ryan Borges, your top 4, Cecil Rene, your top 5, and now Rene might have a little help in the McDonald's machine of Jay Anderson in truck number 18.
Jay Anderson gets a great run coming off of 2 there down the backstretch. And he's actually going to look to the inside. Looks like the 15 had got a little loose there off of 2. May have to get out of that throttle a little bit. That's going to let the 18 get on the round. That's 18 Jay Anderson right there. Great move by him. Trying to run down these lead.
Jay Anderson makes a clean move to get around the 15 of Cecil Rene, but I also have to think, Jason, that's a bit of a strategy move as well. Cecil Rene knows he can't run down the leaders by himself. He needs someone to draft with him and push their way up to the front. It worked for Ryan Borges, catching on to the bump of the pack of the draft of the 36 of George Bark. Now you're going to see it happen again here. Not necessarily Cecil Rene. Something's wrong with that truck. He is dropping to the field.
Yeah, he's definitely backing up. I don't know what he's feeling in there, but something ain't right for him as the 06 is looking to the inside of Daniel Miller. He's looking to the inside of Cecil Rene, look for that spot.
Cecil Rene not going to get it. Daniel Miller will get around him in the 06 machine. And now potentially a battle for third up in your top group. As George Bark now under fire from the 02 of Ryan Borges. It is short-lived as Borges doesn't have the muscle to slingshot around the 36 just yet. Now you're seeing the 64 and D-Nex starting to block a little bit, starting to block George Bark's movement forward. And that's going to do nothing but mess with the Hornets' nest behind him. So now your top 4 is starting to break away through the rest of the field on only lap 8 of 125. Going to be a very long race here tonight. Jay Anderson in 5th, Daniel Miller 6th. Now Jeremy Crandall finds his way up to 7th. That 15 car, Cecil Rene, he is dropping all the way through the field. You think it could be because Roush doesn't provide Chevy parts?
Yeah, it could be. He's going to need a little extra something there. I'm not sure what's happening with his truck, if he's gone into the wall there and I didn't catch it. But he sure is dropping like a rock, because there's several guys that's got around him now.
Robert O'Neill will now, in the 77 will now get around the 10 of Scott Brinkson. Brinkson was on the front row tonight, and he is dropping from that position rapidly. He may not be able to get back up there the way he's getting past. So look at the 10 now. He is starting to keep up with the 77. They are going to go side by side now. The 10 machine of Scott Brinston, he's going to get help from the 33 machine. That is Travis Brown. No, he's not. It's going to go 2 wide into turns 1 and 2. The 77 and 10 still side by side.
You got the lead pack up here. These guys are all in the blanket here. They was coming through 1 and 2 there, about 2 wide there. Everybody looking for a different groove. You got to love that here in Michigan, where you can run a different groove and try to work with something, try to get a better run, try to catch these guys. And that draft is so important. As you can see these leaders working the draft, 36 is going to look to the inside. He wants to lead that lap here to start and finish.
10 laps in, we've already had multiple lead changes. Sal Gardy won't give up the lead this time by, but he's got the unpreferred line up high. You know, it might only be a matter of time before he's forced to do it. Sal Gardy not giving that line in without a fight. He's going to go side by side with George Bark. They might go door to door. Bark almost gets into him, thinks better of it. Now Bark's going to have to slip behind the 39 of Salicardi. He's using that making that high line work for him out here, and he's using that high line well to his advantage. Salicardi knows what to do on that high line, and you can see him just working it like a champ out there. 10 laps in the book, scoring lap 11 now, will be 12 when we cross our finish line. Accardi still leading. George Bark not happy about being relegated to position number 2. Another battle of room behind them, Jason.
Yeah, I believe we got a caution out on the...
Caution is on the field for the 78 of Brian Cross. He is now spinning through the infield out there. It looks like the 53 got involved as well. That's Stephen Earp. Got a piece of that incident as well. Might also involve the 06, I'm being told now. That is Daniel Miller. So 3 trucks, it looks like they are involved in this incident tonight. And I want to say it really starts all the way around the 06 machine. That just gets loose and gets spinning out there. And that's what's going to start this caution flag.
Yeah, it does. Looks like we got a little loose on him coming off of 3 or 4 there, and he just overcorrected and made contact there with another guy, and that's just bad luck for the 06 and the other competitors there that got caught up in that.
So Laura's going to get working on that replay of the 06 machine. You got the replay up now, I'm being told. Let's go ahead and walk you through exactly what happened to bring out the caution flag for the first time tonight. The 06, as you see right there in the apex of the turn, just gets loose, not able to hold it. Coming off of turn number 4, starts to wiggle, overcorrects it, and you get straight into the 78 machine. That's Brian Cross. And now the 78 goes into the dirt. Stephen Erb trying to take away evasive measure, the 53. He's going to go through the dirt as well and spin it in through the infield. Not a whole lot of damage on the 53 or the 78. 78 it looks like out there. I'm sorry, the FC78 of Brian Cross. Not a lot of damage on those two trucks, it looks like, so they should be able to salvage their evening. Did not get a look at the 06, but I gotta imagine the 06, if he's getting loose early, it's going to be a very long night for him.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely wanting to go in the pits to get him 4 fresh tires and tighten that thing up a little bit. Man, that looked like it's a handful.
It certainly looks like it is a handful for him, but the nice thing about these Thursday night beer money races presented by Pros League and Mrs. Dockside, Kim Dolan, realtor out there in Oxnard, California. The cool thing about these races is they are a completely open setup. Now, what does that mean for the lay fan? It means that these guys are allowed to do whatever they want to their setups. The computer has not set what they're gonna do. It's completely open. It is completely truck style, cup style racing, however you want to put it, which is great for these drivers because they can manipulate any piece and part on this car that they want. They come down pit road, and I've got a feeling Daniel Miller, he's going to want to do something to tighten up that car a little bit, maybe take out a little bit of wedge. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, go up on that right rear spring offset. That'd help him more than anything. These guys are headed down pit road, getting 4 tires and fuel and fixing a little bit of these damage. Looks like they're getting some fenders beat out here. But it looks like everybody's got 4 tires and fuel, and they may even get a reset here.
I don't think there's any resets in the series. Jay Anderson, 8.9 second stop for the McDonald's machine, and they took a little bit of a gamble early in the race. They only took 2 tires when they came down pit road, and I believe a lot of other drivers did as well. George Bark still continuing to lead this field. Jeremy Crandall now right beside him in second. Ralph Shipman, Verlis Fankins, Danny Rude, your top 5. And that pit stop really seemed to shake up your top group there, Jason.
Yeah, it did. A lot of different strategies. A lot of guys thinking a lot of different things. Yeah, I was watching on that pit stop. That wasn't a fast reset, boys. That pit crew got a heck of a job there on that stop to beat that dent out of that right rear quarter on that truck. I'll tell you, that's just how it goes. Sometimes you get lucky, and he's going to see how this strategy plays out here. A lot of guys doing a lot of different things. That could make a mess. We could have another wreck here for 2 tires. I've not seen how it goes yet. And these guys with these open setups, they like to run them a little loose to get the speed out of them. So we'll see how it goes here.
Pros is the professional racing online series, and the premier event every Thursday is the Thursday Night Beer Money Truck Series. Free to qualify, $15 to enter. All presented, of course, with the generosity of Mrs. Dockside herself, Kim Dolan, out there on the West Coast in California. If you need a home in the Channel Islands, dock boat, whatever you need, Kim Dolan is your girl to call. Check her out online. Just Google Mrs. Dockside. She'll take real good care of you. Tell her the Pros League sent you, and she'll know what to do. Professional online racing series. If you want to find out more about this league and how you can get signed up and get involved out here, just visit their website, pros-league.com. Pros-league.com, home of the professional racing online series. They're not doubling up just yet. Lights remain on the pace car. Yep, lights remain on the pace car. Gives us plenty of time to tell you about a little special promotion we're running tonight for all of you social savvy folks out there. Sometime tonight, you're going to see the Doge himself. I'm told the Doge running around the track somewhere, Jason. And if you spot him, he's going to give you a little thing to tweet to our very own Laura Lawson at LSRTV. And first one to tweet that, I'm told, is going to get $5 in iRacing credits.
Oh, heck yeah. These guys better watch out. They can drop the bomb on you at any time.
A Dojan bomb the track here at any time. You'll want to be sure to watch out for that throughout tonight's broadcast. Only Phillips scoring 15 laps of 125 scheduled to go here tonight at Michigan. Pros League also trying to compensate for a green-white checker. We don't usually see those finishes here in the iRacing sim because the technology just is not set up to do that. However, they're going to try here tonight. They're compensating by adding extra laps to the race and figuring and just trying to make it work from there. So if we do have a late caution flag, we will have at least 2 attempts at a green-white checker finish. That's kind of cool. You don't see that in the iRacing sim. You don't see the creativity that it takes to do that. But these guys have figured it out, and I got to applaud them for their creativity, Jason.
Oh yeah, you gotta love trying to do something new. I mean, these green-white checkers are awesome. I mean, you know, it gives. I hate finishing the race under caution. That's like the worst thing ever. So trying to finish the race under green, I think that's the way to do it. We give these guys the hands for trying it out here, and we'll see if it catches on.
Lights are off on the first Racing Ford Mustang pace car. We only have about a half a lap to go left at this point. The 2 Barks competition karting cars, George Bark, Jeremy Crandall, start on the front row. Ralph Shipman, Danny Rude will start right behind him. Jay Anderson and Sal Accardi, the man who was leading up to that caution flag. 5th and 6th, respectively. Your top 10 are Ryan Borges, Dean Heck, Scott Brinson, and Robert O'Neill. Restarting in the top 10. 21 drivers remain on the field tonight, so this should still make for some very good racing out there on the track. But I'm very curious to see what the teammates, George Bark, Jeremy Crandall, are going to do, what the strategy is going to be as we continue to get ready to go back to green flag racing here at Michigan.
And these guys' trucks are fast. They've been practicing all week, and I've seen them in practice, and they've been near the top of the board all week, and they've been working real hard. So I'd say they'll try to pull away from here, and we've seen that they can break away from the pack. If they can break away and get some distance on them, they can run it out here, get a few of these laps burned off here.
Pace car ducks into the pit road. The 3673 wastes no time. George Bark hits the hammer as the green flag flies on the Mrs. Dockside 250 once again. And George Bark, Jeremy Crandall, 1st and 2nd on the field once again. Ralph Shipman jumps to position number 3. Danny Rude holds on to position number 4. Now Sal Accardi doing everything he can to run that high line. He's run so well. Hold on to position number 5. Right behind him, almost in trouble. The 18 to 02 nearly making contact out there. And now those 2 drivers going to settle it out, separate and go their different ways. Sal Accardi now getting a push from Dean Heck. And Sal Accardi's got something to prove out here on the track, I believe. He's moved up from 5th to 3rd in less than a lap.
And that 02 just stuck it 3 wide in the middle there. And then he's right on the outside of that 18. I'd be watching him too. Remember, he came up through the field there as they was getting on in that run. He was starting to get up to the front. That might be a truck to watch here as they split the 22 going into turn 1. Wow, these guys are really on the hammer.
Everybody on the hammer right now. Jay Anderson trying to keep up with the pace of traffic. Ralph Shipman in the 22 trying to hold on. Ryan Borges on the outside doing everything he can to try to get around that 22 machine. The 02 just not relenting. The 22 charging it even harder down there. 77 of Robert O'Neill looking and watching both those trucks, figuring out who he wants to run with, what he wants to do out there. Side by side now, the 02 and 77. Ryan Borges in trouble. The 02 door slams at 77. Now they're 3 wide on the front straightaway.
And they touched off of 4, 3 wide going down into turn 1 here. 22's going to stay in it and try to take that bottom lane, but he's going to push up into the 77. And the 22 and 77 got a lift here. That gives the 02 the position, and he's on the back straight full throttle.
So Ryan Borges finds a way to make it work for him, and he's now going to get away from that melee. Robert O'Neill with the push from the 33 of Travis Brown. They're going to clear Ralph Shipman as well, and Ralph Shipman, I don't know if he's thinking that discretion is a better part of valor, or if he's not sure what he wants to do there. He's going to go ahead and drop back through the field and try to kind of watch everything happen around him, I guess, which isn't a bad strategy at all. It's a strategy you would employ if you're running a super speedway. And who's to say that Michigan isn't? Back up front, the 73 completes the pass on the 36 of George Bark. Jeremy Crandall, now your leader, but everybody's doing a little dancing up there. Everybody's shaking and moving around. 73, 36 side by side. The 39, 54, almost the same, 64, I should say, almost the same way. Staggered now going into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, we got 2 wide, 6 deep or 3 deep for the lead. This is great racing here. Looks like these teammates are going to try to get up here in the front, and then 73 is going to try to hold the bottom, try to make that 39 of Salicardi work on the outside here. We've seen him do it earlier, that he has managed to get the outside working for him. Let's see if he can do it here to pass his teammates.
George Bark once again back in front of the field. Jeremy Crandall second. Salicardi, a rookie on high side. You know, I've got a feeling that something is set up for that 39 of Bacardi to run that high side and run it successfully well. You see him without any draft partners, just working his way through the field and patiently working his way up and around, folks. Now you see the 39 right beside the 73 machine. Cardi next to Jeremy Crandall, side by side. Cardi could very easily take away position number 2, and if he does so, it would be with minimal help from the draft behind him at the start-finish line. Salicardi technically second. The 73 Jeremy Crandall wiggles a little bit, and now it's a 2-line battle going into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, that was a big wiggle off the 73. It's the 39 Salicardi, man. He's really, like you said, he's got that high line working. And that's what you got to love about here at Michigan. You know, he's got several grooves you can run. You can run that middle groove. You can run the bottom. Try to get around these guys that's trying to pinch you down. Then you can get on the outside and pinch them down a little bit and get the run on the outside of them. As the 39's looking to the outside, as they're battling for second there. George Bark's starting to pull away a little bit.
Side by side, the 73, the 39 are doing battle for position number 2, and that is exactly what George Bark wants to see in his rearview mirror. The more they infight amongst themselves, the 39 now forced to go way high. Cardi almost loses it in turn number 1, saves it in turn number 2, and that takes him out of that competition for position number 2. Now they're fixing to go 3 wide, the 73, the 39, the 64, Crandall, to be Jay Anderson, Dean Heck, all looking for position as they are going to make it go 3 wide, or at least 2 by 2, as Cardi once again back into the fray here in the top 5.
Yeah, that 39's got a big run here off of 4. He's going to look back to the inside of Jay Anderson there. We've been watching him come up through the field here a little bit. Looks like he might have himself a little bit of a long run truck here, but we'll have to see how it gets in the clean air. You know, that affects these trucks a little bit, from being in the draft tucked up behind somebody to being out front.
The 18 ultimately walks away with the position after all that infighting, so he will get now back to position number 2. Salicardi forced settle for position number 3. Crandall 4th, and now Dean Heck riding around in position number 5. Meanwhile, back in the field, it looks like the 06 once again in trouble, as he's going to all get the wiggle going off turns number 4 once again. 3 wide, the 10, the 33, the 06, all 3 wide at the start-finish line. This is that second group that we were talking about earlier. That second groove can make something work, and if they can all stay in line, they can compete with the top guys out there. The problem is that second groove having a little bit of trouble organizing, it looks like, amongst themselves, trying to get in the line. The 33 and 10 side by side. The 06 of Daniel Miller still having a little bit of trouble. Travis Brown, James Hickson in the 44, just trying to figure out where they want to go to keep the fast move running through the field. Leading that group still is the 53 of Stephen Earp, and the 10 of Scott Brinston, side by side through turns 3 and 4.
Looks like we've got up front here that the guys have, they're in line right now, but they're pushing awful hard to catch George Bark. He's pulled out to a second lead, which we haven't seen that really often here. We've seen 3 or 4 trucks pull away from the field, but not just one single. We'll see if these 2 guys can power up and run him down.
Still battling side by side. Now here comes the 06 again, once again. Daniel Miller getting the push from the 33 machine. That's piloted by Travis Brown. Now the 53 of Stephen Earp's going to get involved in that mix. And these guys are continuing to battle amongst themselves. They're still doing a little bit of infighting for position amongst that group. Daniel Miller now leading that pack, and I think these guys are less concerned about catching up to that top group as opposed to getting themselves in a money position for later on in this race. Less than 100 laps left to go here in the Mrs. Dockside 250. Daniel Miller leading that second group. Travis Brown, Scott Brinston, Stephen Earp, the 78 of Brian Cross, all running in double file formation through that field. Back up front, George Bark almost a second on Jay Anderson now, and George Bark is just running away with this race.
Yeah, he is. You gotta give Travis Brown credit though. That was a heck of a push. He is pushing for all that truck had to get up through there on the positions. As 78 puts the 10 there. Oh, the 10 scrubs the wall there, making slight contact with the wall. That's something you don't want to do here. You got to keep the fenders on them things. These trucks are so aero sensitive, and you just got to work this draft, man.
To find a way to make it work for you. Stephen Earp dropping through the field in the 53. Right behind him, the 44 of James Hickson. Hickson's having a little bit of control problems up there. He's got a little bit of damage out there as well. But now these guys, I think, starting to figure it out a little bit here, Jason. Daniel Miller, Travis Brown working in line. Brian Cross, Scott Brinson, Stephen Earp, James Hickson, all working in line out here in this second group. With the exception of Travis Brown, who's going to dispatch the 06 of Daniel Miller. That's for position number 8. It's the 33 and 06 goes side by side. The 33 will pick up the position, not by a whole lot though. Travis Brown now position number 8 on the field, acting out the rest of this field. Not a whole lot going on, except for the fact that your leaders start to get caught by the 18 of Jay Anderson. What was almost a second lead, now cut down to a half-second lead.
Yeah, it looks like these guys, the leaders have figured it out. They've went single file working that draft, and they're getting a real big run on these guys, and they're starting to run down the leader here. As you see, the 39 of Salicardi's been working there with Jay Anderson to work their way up to George Bark. It looks like Dean Hex holding on to that draft there. He's trying to stay in tow with the leaders as they go through one.
36-18 now running almost side by side. You ran on board with the 18 of Jay Anderson just a moment ago. You can see what he was seeing from his kind of virtual cockpit out there in this truck now side by side on the back straightaway here at Michigan International Speedway. The 18 gets the advantage, gets the jump. We have a new leader on the field on lap number 30. It will be Jay Anderson. George Bark now in second. Salicardi in the Good Wrench Service Realtree machine, position number 3. Dean Heck, the HowlColorado.org machine, position number 4. And now it looks like it'll be Robert O'Neill inheriting position number 5 out there on the field. Top 4 starting to get busy once again.
Yeah, Robert O'Neill, he's been sort of just pacing himself back here and just letting these guys battle it out and just taking what the truck will give to him. And it looks like it's working for him. He's having a good top 5 run. And you got to remember, these guys pay out the top 12 spots, and these guys are going to be all over each other here in a little bit.
Sooner rather than later, I imagine here on the track as time continues to wear down. Only 95 laps, 94 laps left on the field here at Michigan, and what we thought was going to be a long race might not be that long of a race after all, as they continue to run. Anderson, Bork, Accardi within spitting distance of each other. Dean Heck starting to try to make a move out there. He's running along with the group. Robert O'Neill, though, he needs to do something out there in that 77 Chevrolet. He's got the 02 of Ryan Ward just behind him, beside him, and ultimately past him, I've got to believe now. But that second group has to figure out what they're going to do. They're over 4 seconds away from your leaders out there. And, Jason, that's not what they can afford. At that point, they need to start figuring out new strategies to catch up and get back to the leaders.
Yeah, they've just got to let somebody lead this group, and somebody's just got to stay with them and just ride right behind them, and just so they can build some momentum to try to catch this lead pack. Because, man, they're pulling away. It's out to 5.27 seconds. 5.3 seconds now.
53 of Stephen Earp gets into the wall here out on the track, and it's going to hurt him just a little bit. You see him limping around behind the 33 of Travis Brown and the 78 of Brian Cross. Stephen Earp, his night has gone from bad to worse after he makes heavy contact with the wall coming off of turns 1 and 2 out there on the field. He's limping out there, and he's got heavy right side damage on that 53 machine. They're going to need a lot of help to stay in this race and stay competitive. Lucky for him, all he has to do is get in the top 12, and he'll be walking away with a little bit of beer money tonight as a result of the race. Question is, can he hold on?
Yeah, it looks like he was racing real hard back here with the 06, and he had a couple of tire marks on his door there, and looks like he just drove it down into one and cut down, and looks like he got a little loose on him, made slight contact with the wall. I hope that don't hurt his chances here, as a guy that was caught up in that first caution we had there, Brian Cross, he's made his way back up to 9th.
Back in position number 2, new driver in position number 2, that's Salicardi in the GM Goodwrench Service Realtree machine. He has now worked his way around the 36 of the Barks competition karting machine of George Bark. That's going to change those. The 39 hits the wall, coming off of 2, made the same mistake that we saw Stephen Earp make just a few minutes ago. And now George Bark will easily get around the 39 of Salicardi. A Cardi's truck starting to look worse for the wear out there. George Bark, though, looking very clean in that Bark competition karting Chevrolet. Bark now into position number 2. A Cardi immediately on his tail. You can slam the dog into the wall, but you can't take the fight out of him.
Heck yeah, he's pushing hard. He's going to make the pass here on the inside on turn 1, and he's been pushing that truck awful hard. He sees he's got some right rear damage there. George Bark's going to come up here and push him down this straightaway. If he wants that position, he better go and catch that leader, Jay Anderson. He's actually pulling away from him a little bit.
It certainly looks like he is, as George Bark now being left in the dust by Salicardi, and here comes Dean Heck as well in that 64 truck. He's going to go all over the back number of the 36 of George Bark. Bark has nowhere to go but backwards now, as Dean Heck's going to find a way to get around him on the inside line. He'll complete the pass in turns 1 and 2. Dean Heck score him one position up. He'll move from 4th to 3rd. Ryan Borges, though, still a time zone away. 6 seconds between him and your leader, about 5 and a quarter seconds between him and George Bark out there. So your top 3 starting to break away. Jay Anderson, a second on the rest of this field out here, and now Jay Anderson's looking like the guy to beat.
Yeah, I was watching him work through the field there right before we got that first caution, and thereafter, that it looked like his truck was coming on and was driving real good on the long run. It looks like the 64 right here is going to get past for second here in turn 1. But he looks like he's got the truck on a long haul. I'm wondering if George Bark is saving tires or if he's used his tires up.
Only time will tell. Tire strategy is going to be something of concern for these drivers here running all these different lines. Andrew Heigl, the 46 machine, he'll be the first one to bring it down pit road out there in his POWMI Memorial truck. But he was running position number 20 out there, so I don't think he's going to be relevant to run this race. Or number 2, the 46 could just be trying to play this race backwards a little bit and try to get the tires and fuel he needs now, because it should only be, maybe 1.5 pit stops for these guys to do. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it'd be 1.5 stops from here. If they stretched it real far, you might be able to do it on 1 stop, but I'm really not sure on the kind of fuel mileage they've been getting this week. I'm guessing it would probably be about 35, 40 laps maybe, so they may have to do 2 stops. Not really sure on that, but the tires is going to come into play, though. You can't really just lay the hammer down and burn these tires off. It's a new tire model for everybody, and everybody's still trying to get a grasp around it. We'll see how this tire does when it falls off here, if we continue to get this green flag run.
The new Goodyear tire model just being introduced a little over a week ago here on the iRacing Sim, and I've got a feeling everybody's trying to get a figure and feel on how this exactly is going to work and how exactly it's going to benefit each of these drivers. Andrew Heigl now off of pit road, and he's trying to figure out his place back here on the track over a lap down, to probably about 2 laps down by the time the entire group cycles through out here. Jay Anderson continuing to lead, and I think all eyes are going to be on the leader for a while here in that McDonald's 18 Silverado. And I say that because he's really going to be the one everyone's going to watch. When is he going to pit? When is he going to make his one obligatory stop out here as we continue to tick down the laps, now currently scoring lap number 41? When is he going to be the one to make the first move? As soon as he makes a move, that's when you're going to see other people make the move.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're going to be keeping all eyes on that leader. And, that's another thing. Do we need to save fuel right here? George Bark could be lifting to save a little fuel as he looks like he's coming down the pit road there. I believe he's slowed or something's wrong with the truck there. Off forward. No, he's entering pit road there.
One driver coming down pit road right now, and it looks like it's going to be the 36 George Bark. The 36 machine was running up front. He's now going to start playing the race backwards a little bit and he's going to take the Barks Competition karting Chevrolet down to pit road to the attention of his crew. And the big question is, what's the 36 going to go for when he comes down to the attention of his crew during this green flag pit stop? He is in the box, and it looks like it will be at least 2 tires for the 36 machine. Yep, right sides will go out. Will it be a 4-tire stop for George Bark? I can't imagine where it wouldn't be. It will be all 4 tires and 2 full tanks of Sunoco fuel for George Bark. He is back down and away, the 36 truck back out on the racing surface.
Oh, and he's got to go like crazy now once he gets out of pit road, because he's got to hope this thing goes green. If these guys happen to slip up and have a caution, that's going to put him way back. We've seen that happen before.
Giving away their strategy yet, although I'm being told the 10 machine might come down pit road. No, 10 will skip pit road. Cecil Renee will come down pit road. Ferris Falcons, he's now spinning. The 006 machine in the racing service. He is sideways in the racing service, right on the front stretch. This will bring out the caution flag? No! Ferris Falcons getting... Oh, no, caution will be out there for the second time tonight as a result of Verlis Falcons' spin trying to come down pit road. So Verlis Falcons comes down pit road, will be towed back to pit road as the caution flag comes out for the second time tonight. Cecil Renee, he's going to be stuck down on pit road. He's going to get service. Let's watch that replay real quick of that 006 machine as he tried to, as it looks like he tried to make the pit stop. It's hard to tell. You see him coming down here, and no, he hit the wall in turn number 4 and started getting stuck to that wall glue in that safer barrier. Tried to come down pit road, missed the opening to pit road, ends up spinning right back into the racing surface, and it's going to be, it looks like the 28 of Christopher Lorenz. That's going to narrowly avoid the 006 machine and avoid getting into a whole lot of trouble. So Verlis Falcons in a little bit of trouble out there, but it looks like he might be able to salvage his night yet. Second caution flag out for the night, which means we're about to see pit stops from everybody involved.
And here they come. They're coming down pit road right now. Looks like everybody's coming for 4 tires. I'd say the only guy that stays out here would be George Bark. He needs to stay out here and take the wave around, get up behind that pace car, because all the leaders are coming. Looks like, yep, everybody is. Probably be 4 tires and fuel. That's what I'd say it is.
Salacardi leading them down pit road. He will pop into his pit stall this time by Jay Anderson immediately behind him in a pit stall behind him. Let's keep an eye on pit road, see what everyone's looking for. Dean Hack is going to take at least 2 tires. 2 tires up in the karting machine. Stephen Herb, Ryan Borges, Daniel Miller, Jay Anderson already has their left sides up. Jay Anderson is the first one to come off pit road, and I've got a feeling he might have only taken 2 tires. No, he was a 4-tire stop for Jay Anderson, but he might have lost the race off pit road. 14.2 seconds. Jay Anderson holding on to that first position off pit road. Dean Heck immediately behind him. Salacardi, Brian Cross, and Ryan Borges, your top 5 off pit road. But Jay Anderson continues to dominate on pit road, getting the benefit of the doubt. He's going to lead them off pit road, and he has got a lot of distance between him and George Bark.
Yeah, it looks like everybody took 4 tires and fuel there, needing them 4 Mr. Feelgoods to get these trucks handling the way they need to get them to the front.
Or who's this tribute to? All right, where is it from? Let's go ahead and step away from the microphone and take a quick break. Laura Lawson, our executive producer, has a very special tribute tonight for a living legend of Atlanta that unfortunately lost his life far too soon. So, Laura, let's go ahead and take it away for our very own Captain Herb of WSB down in Atlanta. Hold the break. So let's shoot plenty of time. Just running to the left.
Gives me all the information I need.
Listen to the radio. Listen to Captain Herb's live again. What is the detritus causing the detour in I-575? Do we know?
Captain Herb's really cute. He's really entertaining. He's got slings really fun.
Okay, it's going to be okay. You'll be okay. You'll get home today.
Switch, turn on the Captain Cam. You'll see downtown moving smooth to someone here. Westbound, over by Lucky Hazel. Let's look out of traffic tracker 2 and see if we can see everything that's happening. myself on I-85 southbound. Well, anyway, early birds enjoying a nice ride on Stone Mountain Highway.
Try to ask myself and the whole traffic team to put themselves in that driver's seat and sort of be thinking ahead. What is the next thing that person stuck in that traffic jam wants to know?
Herb joins us live again. What is the detritus causing the detour in I-575? Do we know?
Oh, my aching toe. That's how I feel almost every day watching your commute.
Right now, some new trouble reported on the inner loop of the property. Bring it on up. It's okay on I-85. Or if you know people that work with the Cobb County Fire Department and Police Department, they deserve a pat on the back. Of this morning, they have their hands full. Westbound, I've been rubbing my lucky hazelnut this morning. Everybody, headlights off.
Listen to the radio. Listen to Captain Herb.
We're looking for the pot of gold on 285. Crashes reported. Oh, it's brand new trouble here. Just saw two cars spin out. One's gone all the way from the HOV lane over into the median here.
He always made us feel like, hey, traffic's going to be okay. You'll be okay. You'll get home.
This morning, hoping that it'll be a nice ride through that construction zone. Let's look out at Traffic Tracker 2 and see if we can see the bluebird of happiness on I-85 southbound. Hazelnut.
On degree.
It'll be all right. And we thank our very own Laura Lawson for putting together that heartwarming tribute to Atlanta's very own Captain Herb, who's been dutifully watching over Atlanta for several years with WSB down there. And Laura, we certainly appreciate you putting that together for him. Very, very well done. Certainly not one that will be forgotten anytime soon. Jay Anderson, Dean Heck about to take the track here once again in the Mrs. Dockside 250 at Michigan International Speedway. Time is running out. Just over 75 laps left to go into tonight's feature here at Michigan. 2 caution flags, which means we've already had some great racing, but I've got a feeling the best is yet to come. Jay Anderson, Dean Heck on the front row. First racing Ford Mustang. Pace car out of the way, and Jay Anderson taking his time, waiting, waits for the green silk to fly, and here we go. Jay Anderson hits it hard, and he is going to be down and away. Now battle for position number 2 as a 54 and 39. That's Salicardi low. That's going to be Salicardi low. Dean Heck high. Accardi's got something for Dean Heck, and he is going to inherit position number 2 going to the backstretch.
Salicardi's not going to waste no time here. Oh, I believe we got a caution out on the field.
And
it looks like
caution
at 93's around.
Speedway
we'll
time
look here and see
is
what
running
happens.
Caution's out for the third time. It's going to be involving 3 trucks, I'm being told now. The 46, the 22, the 93. All ended up getting a piece of that one on the restart through turns 1 and 2. A little aggressive driving, it looks like, for all 3 of those cars. Actually, I take it back, it will be 3 and 4. In any event, three trucks involved in that incident. The 46, the 22, the 93. We'll get that replay up for you and walk you through what exactly happened in that incident to bring out the 3rd caution flag of the evening.
It looks like everybody was just fighting for real estate here as we go up, coming out of 3, on the restart. We got the 22. Looks like he makes slight contact with the 46 and spins down into the 93 and then collects him. And then the 006 also gets collected and gets a real bad contact there. It's real aggressive on that restart.
Way too aggressively driving on a restart here at Michigan. So it'll be Eric Wortley, the 93, the 46 of Andrew Heigl, the 22 of Ralph Shipman, and the 006 of Barrel's Falcons, all getting a piece of this incident. And this might retire a couple trucks as a result of that big incident. Third caution flag out on the field tonight. Jay Anderson still in the lead. Salicardi now in second. Dean Heck, Ryan Borges, Brian Cross, your top 5. And let's look through the rest of this field. A lot of cars now starting to get a lot more banged up. The one I'm really watching is 006 of Falcons. If you look in that front end of that machine, that thing is caved in. That could ultimately spell a lot of big trouble for the 006 team tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we got a couple of trucks heading to pit road. 73 of Jeremy Crandall's on pit road. Looks like he might have a little damage on his back end that they may need to repair here. Or he could be playing a little strategy here, as we had a bunch of guys stay out right there. Looks like it'll be 4 tires and top the fuel off there.
So there's a couple guys coming down pit road to try to figure out what they can do to keep the cars running, the trucks running as best as they can. George Bark now down on pit road. Jeremy Crandall on pit road. Cecil Renee, Eric Wortley on pit road. Ralph Shipman, Nick Giles, all coming down the attention of their crews. It looks like a lot of strategy now being played down on pit road.
Yeah, it looks like these guys are trying to get these 4 fresh tires here and try to get a little advantage on the guys that stayed out. We had a lot of guys that stayed out right there. I know they didn't go very far, but if they overdrove turn 2 right there on the green flag, that was their reset, so they could get fresh tires and maybe get an advantage on these guys. Always trying to get that advantage on your competitor.
Always trying to get the advantage on the competitor out there. Jay Anderson, Salicardi, Dean Heck, Ryan Borges, Brian Cross, your top 5 out there on the field as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here, probably in a couple more laps. Lap 52, I imagine, would be when we go back to green flag racing, which leaves us less than 75 laps left to go around here on the track. And these guys are ticking off laps as fast as they can out here. We've seen some very, very quick Michigan racing. My only concern at this point, Jason, is we've seen it before. Cautions breed cautions, and 2 quick cautions right back and forth behind each other. That's not a good omen for the next 75 laps.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of these guys. They ain't afraid to get aggressive there. They just really getting on the throttle hard and not waiting to go. And that can just cause major problems if somebody don't get a very good restart, or it bunches up the field, or anything can happen here. So cautions to breed cautions. These guys better look out. They better just take it easy. We still got quite a few laps here to go.
2 left to go before we're back to green flag racing. 1.5 as they hit the back straightaway here at Michigan. So now we're really going to start seeing some of the creative racing going on, as it were, around the track. Jay Anderson, Salicardi, Dean Heck, now they got to do everything they can to start figuring out what they want to do and how they want to get around all of these trucks here at Michigan International Speedway. Tonight's race, of course, brought to you by Mrs. Dockside herself, Kim Dolan, a realtor for everything you need down there in Mandalay Bay and the Channel Islands. If you need a realtor, you need a houseboat, and all kinds of stuff, give a call to Kim Dolan. Visit her website, KimDolanRealtor.com. Mrs. Dockside lending her name to the Mrs. Dockside 250 here at Michigan International Speedway. Lights should go off this time by. We should be plus or minus 1 to go left here at Michigan before we're back to green flag racing. And we've got a lot of racing left here in store with the Pros League Thursday night beer money series, the Mrs. Dockside 250. And Jay Anderson, Salicardi, 2 strangers who know all about prize fighting here in iRacing. They are in a very prime position to take away a little bit of money.
Oh, heck yeah. These guys are out here running hard, getting all worked up, getting hot and sweaty, and getting thirsty. Want that beer money, baby.
So Jay Anderson, Salicardi, first and second on the field up front. Dean Heck, Ryan Borges, third and fourth. Brian Cross, Robert O'Neill, row number 3. Row number 4 belongs to Daniel Miller, Stephen Earp. Then row number 5, Travis Brown and Kerry Cleaver, about to get ready to go back to business here. 21 cars remain on the 22-car field. Nick Giles, the only car that's out for the night. Bearless Falcons might be joining that crew, though, here very, very quickly. Andrew Heigl also 1 lap down, leaving 19 trucks remaining on the lead lap here at Michigan International Speedway.
It looks like these guys are scrubbing their tires pretty hard. They better be careful doing that. I've seen a bunch of guys spin out on this new tire model, and it gets a little more roll in the back end. It's real easy to do if you give it a little bit too much gas. It'd be sort of funny, but it'd be hard to really not. I feel bad about saying it now. I ain't trying to jinx nobody. We want this thing to go green flag.
If we're not trying to jinx anybody, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, I'm looking at this 39 here at this restart. He's still got a little right rear damage, so that must not be hurting him too bad because he ain't took a chance to fix it.
Pace car will make the hard left turn down pit left turn down pit road. So Jay Anderson, Salacardi will be left to their devices to lead the field together. They're starting to bunch up right behind him, and here they go. The 06, the biggest loser in that one. He's forced to drop out of line, and now it's 3 wide around the 33, the 69, the 44, and a lot of other guys looking to make it go 3 wide as well, almost 4 wide around the 10 and the 73. Very aggressive driving all throughout this field here at Michigan, but it looks like a clean restart as they go through turns 1 and 2 and back up front. The 39 is Salacardi doing everything he can to get around the 18 of Jay Anderson. Accardi's got the advantage. He's got the push from the 02 of Ryan Borges, and he might get it. No, the 18 door slams the 39. The 39 gets it. The 02 and 64 make contact. There's 3 and 4. 64 is loose. 64 is loose. 64 saves it, but now they're bunching up behind.
What a save. What a save there by the 64, 3 wide down into turn 1. Look at this. It's a 06 77 pulling it right on the high side. Wow, that guy was loose down the front.
Very loose down the front. Dean Heck drops from the penthouse to the doghouse from battling for position number 1 all the way to position number 6. And now, problems now, 33, 53 involved. They're going to go around here. They're going to spin out, and they're going to collect the 44 with them. 2 trucks involved, and that will be our 4th caution of the night.
Yeah, it looks like the 53 just sort of got loose there off the corner, and the 33 was pushing up a little bit to come off the corner, and they just made contact there, and that 53 was getting a little loose, and it spun them both out.
The 53, 33 both got loose going through turn number 2 there, and the 53 just happened to catch to catch the wall first and end up snapping, coming off of the turn, going straight into the 33. And those 2 trucks will definitely go around for the ride. No, all the other trucks, though, you got to give credit. They all somehow missed the 33 machine of Travis Brown. Somehow they're all able to escape it. So Travis Brown gets away for the most part scot-free. One of the biggest hits, though, came to the 44 of James Hickson. James Hickson, nowhere to go. He tried to slow down as much as he could on that high side, seeing the exit in front of him, but he just could not lock up those brakes fast enough. And the 44 Slim Jim machine will end up making heavy contact with the 53. That 53 belonging to Stephen Earp out there. Stephen Earp's second incident, and that might have ended his night as well as the night of the 44 machine, James Hickson.
Yeah, his front end's pushed in pretty good. I've been there before. You're just trying to stop that thing as much as you can without locking the tires up, and it's just hard to stop slowing down from 180 miles an hour. It just takes so long. I mean, these guys, they got massive brakes on there, even being at Michigan. And it's still hard to slow them down.
Cautions, breeding cautions in the middle of the race here in the Mrs. Dockside 125 at Michigan International Speedway. Let's go ahead and step away from the microphones real quick and pay our bills, as it were. You're watching live coverage of the Pros League on LSRTV. Lights are off here in the Mrs. Dockside 250 at Michigan International Speedway, part of the Pros League, the professional racing online series league, I should say. And two drivers up front, Sal Accardi, Jay Anderson, getting ready to go back at it on lap number 59 of 125 here at Michigan. Daniel Miller, Ryan Borges right behind him, Dean Heck, Brian Cross, row number 3, Scott Brinson, Kerry Cleaver, row number 4, Ralph Shipman, and George Bark has worked his way up back into the top 10. Jason, I know we love good competitive racing, we love good fast racing, but these guys have got to slow it down just a little bit if they want to make it all the way through.
Yeah, they need to wait. We need to get a single file here and need to get this thing stretched out a little bit, get everybody a little breathing room, and then lay the hammer down. Then let's race. We gotta get one of these restarts done and get another green flag in here. That's still a lot of racing left to go.
There's a lot of racing left to go in this group. There's a lot of time left to go in this race. You do not win the race on lap number 59. You win it on lap 125, or a change if we end up having a green-white checkered finish tonight. So Sal Accardi, Jay Anderson in prime position to do just that right now to win this race. Both these drivers, no stranger to prize fighting. Look for them to get a good jump. And Sal Accardi gets a great jump on the field. Catches him sleeping, and now he's got a huge jump over Jay Anderson and the rest of the field. Battling for position number 3 right now as Daniel Miller, Ryan Borges go side by side behind him. Brian Cross side by side with Dean Heck behind them. The number 10 is Scott Brinson side by side with the 69 and Kerry Cleaver. These guys are now doing battle all over the track, and we have a caution on the track. I'm being told.
Yeah, caution on the track. I don't see what it is right here, Joe.
It's a 53 machine of Stephen Earp that gets around for the 3rd time tonight. As a result of that, let's watch what exactly happened. First lap of the restart, the 53 and the 006. That 006 belongs to Verilus Falcons. Once again, making contact on the track. Hard to say who got into who. The 006 or the 53 might have been the 006 that ended up checking and getting up into the 53. In any event, the 53 will go for a spin and up in the infield. Case cuts a little grass with him, and right back on the racing surface, bringing out the caution flag once again tonight. And this is exactly what we were talking about just a moment ago, Jason. These guys need to calm it down and get some laps in.
Yeah, that's just a little bit too aggressive. They're going for the same spot and making contact there on the restart there. We've got a lot of laps left. Laps left to go here, and need to get these get stretched out here so we can get some racing done.
Or at least trying to get a little bit of space and a little bit of patience out there. In order to finish first, you must finish. One guy that hasn't finished yet is the lovable Doge, who's still running around here somewhere on the track. And there he is, the Doge. We have seen the Doge. He's showed up, and there he is. I told you he was out here on the track somewhere, Jason. Tweet his message to LS. There he is. Tweet his message over to LSRTV. The first one to do so will pick up $5 in iRacing credit, courtesy of LSRTV. So the Doge, I told you he was running around somewhere on the track.
Yeah, he's been hiding around here and said he was going to show up, and there he was, dropping a bomb on you.
Yeah, you'll tend to have that, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
Lovable Doge throwing out iRacing credits for our friends over there on Twitter, twitter.com/LSRTV. If you want to join in on the fun online, we're always happy to have a little fun on in social media, and for someone, they'll actually walk away with a little bit of a help, a little bit of fun for tonight.
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome for whoever tweets in. I think that's what it was.
Whoever tweets in, walking away with a little bit of bonus for them. What's wrong with that?
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, tweet in and get you $5.
Salicardi, Jay Anderson, Daniel Miller, Ryan Borges, Gene Heck, your top 5. And what really surprised, well, it doesn't surprise me so much, but look at the names you have up there in that top group. Salicardi, Jay Anderson, Ryan Borges. These are 3 drivers that we have seen throughout time and time again throughout iRacing's top tier of, well, not necessarily their top tier, but in the big money races you see here on iRacing. Every time there's a Coral race, you see them. Every time there's a Pros League race, you see them. So it's no surprise you got Salicardi, Jay Anderson, Ryan Borges running top 5 right now. These guys are starting to make a name for themselves as some of the prize fighters here in the iRacing sim.
Oh yeah, these guys have been doing a lot of practice, and that's what it takes, man. You just got to turn in laps, do a lot of practice. And these guys have been doing a lot of it. You got to get to know his setups and figure out what works and what don't. And the only way to do that is practice. And you know, I say it all the time. I've run more practice than I even race anymore. But man, that's how to get fast. And these guys are showing it out here. They got a little speed in their trucks tonight and looking good out there.
And then there's a lot of guys who are trying to work their way from the back and try to play this race in reverse a little bit. George Bark being one of them, Kerry Cleaver, Ralph Shipman, Travis Brown, who was involved in an incident earlier. These guys are also guys who are no stranger to the Pros League. These guys all know each other very well out here. And so you've got really kind of 2 factions doing battle here. Some guys who know each other through the sim and other guys who know each other through this league and have come together to start the Pros League, the Professional Racing Online Series League. So you have 2 factions here coming together, coming into play, and it's really going to add to the drama and dynamic of what happens here later on in this race.
Oh yeah, it really does. And you know, George Bark's got to be thinking that he's got to be careful back here. You know, we keep getting these cautions, and you know, if anybody's wanting everybody to give and take just a little bit, it's George Bark right there sitting in ninth, because he got caught a lap down there on that first or second caution we've had there, and he's been struggling to get back to the front. We know he's got a strong truck because he's led it, you know, several laps, and they just got to hold it together here and sort of bite their tongue for a couple of laps and get a few laps under their belt and then go at it.
Lights are off on the pace car. The first iRacing Ford Mustang pace car will head down to pit road this time by, and with him he'll have several drivers getting ready to do battle behind him. Salicardi, Jay Anderson, once again first and second on the field. Daniel Miller, Ryan Borges, 4th and 5th. Dean Heck, Brian Cross in row number 3. Scott Brinson, Kerry Cleaver, Ralph Shipman, and George Bark now row number 5. And George Bark slowly but surely working his way back into the mix here at Michigan. He was at one point in the tail end of this field as a result of a bad pit stop. Now look where he's at. He's now position number 9 on the field, and George Bark could easily work his way back through this field tonight.
Yeah, if he can keep the fenders on that truck, he'll be looking real good. And that's what these guys got to be thinking here. I mean, if we keep spinning, then ain't nobody gonna have no fenders, and they won't be good to win this race and get that beer money, man.
I was about to say there, I don't necessarily think that you want to win this race on I don't think you necessarily want to win this race due to atrophy. I don't know that that's something you want to necessarily brag about, but hey, you know what? Works for demolition derbies. Why not for a little bit of beer money?
Heck yeah, when all else fails, you know, you got to get across that line first there.
When all else fails, you just have to finish more laps than the guy behind you.
That's it. Just try to outrun them. This pace car's in.
Pace car's in. Let's get real ready to go back to Green Flag Racing here on lap number 64. Salicardi hits the hammer, and he is down and away to lead. Lap number 63. Now on lap 64, Jay Anderson immediately behind him, battling for position number 3 right now, the 06-02. Ryan Borges goes high, Daniel Miller goes low, and they're going to go side by side. Uh-oh! Almost contact being made with the 02 and the 06. Very scary moments there for both of those drivers as Daniel Miller yields the position to Ryan Borges. Borges is not done, though, going into turns 3 and 4. He's going to do a little battle with Jay Anderson for position number 2.
Salicardi's looking in his mirror and he's loving it, watching these guys battle. He's been riding first here through these cautions and everything. He's just hoping they keep it up. I'm hoping they stay off each other right here and stay green.
That would be ideal out there as Jay Anderson and Salicardi continue to lead out there. Dean Heck, Ryan Borges, Daniel Miller, your top 5. Brian Cross, Scott Brinson, George Bark, Gary Cleaver, and now Travis Brown getting in the mix. Look at the 33 right side by side with the 6 Travis Brown, or sorry, 9 of Gary Cleaver. Cleaver trying to work that high line. His caution back on the field one more time. And I got a feeling it's involving the 006 of Bearless Falcons. Yes, it is the 006 machine. That machine has blown up for the night after making heavy contact with the 19 machine of Danny Rude.
Yeah, that's heavy contact there. He popped his motor. He just needs to park that thing. He's had a couple of problems this evening. His luck's not on his side today.
So it all starts with a 19 of Danny Rude overdriving it after nearly making contact with a 77 machine. Or no, looks like the 19 may have lost the motor going through turns 1 and 2. As you see him battling, we saw him right there a moment ago, battling around the 46 machine, then just dropping straight back through the field. It looks like the engine just might have gone on the 19 machine as Danny Rude just drops all the way through the field, tries to correct it, tries to get back on the track. No dice. He'll make contact with, it looks like, the 93 machine of Eric Wortley before getting plowed into by the 007 machine, the 007 machine, so 6 machine, I should say, of Bearless Falcons. Falcons and Rude, their nights are both officially done as a result of that incident. And both those trucks going to be a little frustrated they couldn't walk away with some beer money.
Yeah, that's tough luck for them. That's just hard to correct that much damage. You know, these guys got to get their head in the game if they want to win that money. You can't be out here wrecking for 20th with 50, 60 laps to go.
So pace car lights remain on. Salicardi, Jay Anderson, Dean Heck, Ryan Borges, Daniel Miller, your top 5. And this is exactly what we talked about. Cautions breed cautions, Jason. And now some of the drivers, I'm sure, are feeling that frustration.
Heck yeah, I'd say a lot of them are. A lot of them want to get this thing going green flag and sort of ride this thing out and keep bunching up these restarts there. They get a little aggravating. This track is huge. It's like 2 minutes to ride around here. So, and these race car drivers, they like to go. They want to get these trucks to going. And we'll see here if they might want to top off with some fuel here. They've been riding around a few laps.
Go fast, turn left, fast some more. That is kind of the oval racers creed there, and you're not seeing a lot of that now just after the midway point of this race. You're seeing a lot of go fast for a couple laps, then pace around for a little bit longer. And you're right, these pace laps are long, about 90 seconds around this track, between 90 seconds and 2 minutes around this track, depending on how fast they're going. And the only big guy you have to feel that's benefiting from this is the driver of that 39 machine, Salicardi. Because the longer he stays up front, the less he has to do to defend that lead.
Yeah, he's got to be loving it, sitting there in first position. That's the only guy who likes seeing this, is the person that's leading. And that puts a smile on their face every time they wreck, and they're still out front like that and still pulling away. So, if they keep doing it up, he's got them right now.
I would say maybe more importantly to Salicardi is the fact that the more he runs up front, the more he paces up front. He doesn't have to put any wear on those tires. He can conserve fuel. So we will have a much fresher car as a result of all these caution flags when it comes down to doing business later on in this race, thanks to being able just to cruise around the track at pace speed and not have to do a whole lot, not force his truck into some tight spaces that he normally wouldn't want to be in.
Yeah, and we see, that he's willing to do that because he's got a little for rear damage on his truck there that, it apparently ain't hurting him too much because, he could come in right here and fix all that damage, but apparently it ain't hurting him any at all because he's staying out there on the track and enjoying that lead.
Join the lead by any way get it, I suppose. Sal Accardi, Jay Anderson, Dean Heck, your top 3. Ryan Borges, Daniel Miller, Scott Brinson, your top 6. And look who's now in position number 7, George Bark. As a result of that minimal green flag run we had, he worked his way from 9th to 7th. So George Bark creeping every opportunity he gets to the next position, to the next position, to the next position. The yellow flags might be slowing him down, but they're not slowing down his opportunity here.
Yeah, that's true. He's still moving up. He's been getting good restarts, and trying to stay clean there and trying to get a good run. He's been working his way up ever since he got caught a lap down. I know he likes to see it go green, but he's still gaining position. So, he's got to be getting a little bit more confident in what he can do here.
Getting more and more confident in every lap he's turning out here. And with time running out, George Bark might be saving all of that for a big run here at the end. Lights are off, so let's go back. We're going to go back to green flag racing here in just one lap as they get ready to double them up one more time here around the 19-degree bank turns of Michigan International Speedway. Sal Accardi, Jay Anderson, row number 1. Dean Heck, Ryan Borges, row number 2. Daniel Miller, Scott Brinson, row number 3. George Bark, Terry Cleaver, row number 4. Travis Brown, Ralph Shipman, your top 5 rows. Then some other notable names that were involved in incidents earlier back in the mix. Stephen Earp, who's been involved in at least 3 incidents. He's now position number 11. James Hickson, who was involved earlier, in position number 12. Chris Lorenz, who the 28, who was involved earlier, position number 14. Cecil Renee, Eric Wortley, they're still in the top 20 out here. Only looks like 19 cars remain on the lead lap. Danny Rude, Veros Falcons, they are out for the night, as well as Nick Giles. So what was a 22-car field has turned into a 19-car field just by atrophy alone, Jason.
Yeah, we got a couple guys back here in the back that licked at the pit right there. And I don't much blame them riding around on them cold tires. That's might as well come in and get the adjustments you need while you can. They'll have to be real careful, though, here on the restarts, as hope they don't get bunched up here again. And hopefully they'll give and take a little bit. We can get some green flag racing.
We'll see what they do as they get ready to go back to green flag racing here at Michigan International Speedway. Pace car will go down, make the hard left turn and go down pit road. This time by, there goes the first racing Ford Mustang pace car. Now it's all in the hands of Sal Accardi, slowly taking to the green flag. Hits the hammer, he is down and away. He takes away the lead once again. Now scoring lap number 70 on this field. Jay Anderson now right behind Ryan Borges third, Dean Heck fourth, and Scott Brinson rounding out your top 5 here so far. Battle now for third, maybe second, as a 0-2 of Ryan Borges once again trying that high line for himself. It may work, it may not. The 30 to 64 of Dean Heck, he's trying to now figure out a line where he wants to run. Almost makes it 3 wide. Not going to, he's debating it. 0-2 almost makes contact with the 64. 0-2 debating making contact there with the 64 machine.
Yeah, he's getting a big wiggle coming off the 4 here down to start and finish line. He's getting a little loose out there on the outside. I was watching George Bark here on this restart, watching him work his way up through here. He got a pretty good restart and managed to pass a few trucks, but he's caught up to this bunch here. And looks like that 10 truck may have a little right front damage. And he's going to get up here and work this draft, and probably looking to take him up here in 3.
Scott Brinson back in position number 5 in the silver and black number 10 machine, but here comes George Bark on the inside. The 36 wastes no time getting around the 10. George Bark now in the top 5 once again. Daniel Miller, the 06, will follow him right around. So George Bark, he looks like he is a man on a warpath right now to try to get back up front and try to get back to leading some laps out here. Sal Accardi still up front. Jay Anderson second. Now the battle continues to heat up for third as as the 64 of Dean Heck and the 02 of Ryan Borges. They continue to look around. They continue to battle nose to tail.
As we got 3 wide way back here in the pack, they ain't waiting for going 3 wide. They got Brian Cross up here on the outside trying to get away from these guys with the 44 on the inside.
Having some problems, looks like some major problems now for the 22 of Ralph Shipman. He might have got involved with the 53 of Stephen Erb. heavy right side damage on that 22 machine. Not entirely sure what happened between him and another car, but that is not going to bring out the caution flag. Interesting move, and that might not bring out the caution flag, but the 22 continues to limp on track. It may end up bringing up the caution flag later on if they start to catch up to him.
Yeah, this looks like he's riding down through the corner, and looks like the truck just lets it go on him there in the turn. And he just got in and scrubbed that wall real hard, and just tore his right side up there pretty good. As we're still green flag here, so we got the leaders are trying to make a move here. We got the 39 trying to look away around Jay Anderson.
It was a 22 of Ralph Shipman, as you saw in that replay just a moment ago. He got hit pretty hard there. It looks like he got hit by the 77 machine. That's Robert O'Neill, and also getting involved in that one is the 15 machine of Cecil Renee. Both those drivers going for a ride. And the 22 machine of Ralph Shipman, his night might as well be done. The 77 might be done as well. And it looks like we're going to continue to stay caution-free now on lap number 74. Now going to lap 75, and new leader starting to break away from the rest of the field. That is Jay Anderson in the 18, as Salagardi now has some big traffic behind him.
Yes, Dean Hicks looking here on the inside there, 1 and 2. He's got the 0-2 pushing him there. We know he's been a little aggressive there, so I'd say if he needs a good push, he'll be sure to give him a shove. As the guy that's been on the move is George Bark. He's moved his way up to 5th here. He's looking on the outside, taking 4th on the outside. Looks like he's done some work to his truck or done something. He's making that outside line work because he's getting a run on both these guys here.
2 by 2, 2nd through 5th, continue to run in the perfect box formation. 50 laps left to go here in the Mrs. Dockside 250, and now it's the 64, the 39 going side by side. The 02 and 36 doing battle as well. Now we have a new contender, the 06 of Daniel Miller, getting right into the mix there, and they continue to run side by side. Nope, now it's getting nose to tail as Salagardi finds a way up through the group up to the front part, and now this is the 36 of George Bark. He needs to find a new friend to draft with, or at least someone to hook up with and get the tail moving on it. The 36 gets back to the back of the 29, or 39 I should say, and now it's a battle for second.
So he moves to the inside here on the start and finish line. He's going to go ahead and take second. He's been working his way. He's been driving real cautious but real hard and trying to keep the truck clean, trying to get back to the front there. So he got pinned down early in the race. Looks like that's he's doing a good job working his way back up here. Salagardi's going to hold off that position there on the outside. Looks like that outside's prevailing a little bit here on the longer run of things, the way these trucks are set up.
Salagardi getting the advantage once again on the 36 of George Bark on that outside line. And we saw George Bark get a little bit of a wiggle coming off turn 1 and 2 last time by. They cross the start-finish line. It will be, once again, Salagardi fighting off George Bark. Let's see what happens as they go through turns 1 and 2. Salagardi just gets a huge run on George Bark, over a truck length and a half on George Bark right now. Salagardi now trying to hold off the 36 Bark on that outside line. And here's where we see that outside line being the preferred groove around this Michigan track. It's enough for the 36 to at least smell second place, but not enough for the 36 to capture it. 39 just too strong. He is good no matter what line you put him on. Salagardi is going to be someone you want to watch for the rest of this race.
Yes, George Bark gets a big run here, and it looks like he's going to get the position here. He's going to get second at least for that lap right there. But that high line's been prevailing here over the long run. Looks like they're not as good through the corner, but they get a real big run on the straightaways, and that's real big in these trucks, especially when you catch a little bit of draft. You can mile per hour these guys.
Single file now. The Rue second on back. George Bark will ultimately take away second place from Salagardi. Dean Heck now in position number 4. Ryan Borges holding on to the top 5. Daniel Miller in 6th. Scott Brinson 7th. Travis Brown with 33 in 8th. Brian Cross the 78 in 9th. And Kerry Cleaver the 69 rounding out the top 10. And they are still not done infighting in that first group out there. Now look at the 0-2 and the 0-6. Ryan Borges, Daniel Miller make it dangerously close to touching in turns 1 and 2. They'll take it to the back straight away. No positions exchanged, no contacts being made. But the 0-6, he's starting to look hungry now as the time starts to wind down on this field.
And that truck's been a little shaky this whole race. I really hope that the crew chief there got that thing buckled down, as it looks a little better now than it did before. But I remember there at the first of the race, man, that thing was stepping out all kinds of sideways. But he's got hammered down now as they're running pretty hard here going down into 1. These guys look like they're going to file out here, try to run single file maybe. As I say that, he gets a huge run through the corner. But they need to get some laps done here. We're getting sort of close to the end, but we got to get some more done so we can get one more pit stop in.
George Park, Sal Liccardi, Dean Heck, your top 3. Ryan Borges, Daniel Miller, Scott Brinston, your top 7 that are all within striking distance of one another now. Your top 2nd through 7th, really in striking distance of each other. The really guy that's broken out in the second part of the race that I've absolutely been surprised by is Jay Anderson. Every lap time around so far, he's might find a way to get a little bit more time on that group behind him. Now they're starting to catch up, but still over a second lead on George Park and Company. That has been very good to Jay Anderson. If they can line up behind him and they can start getting that draft to move behind him, Jay Anderson might need to rethink his strategy, though, as we continue to turn clean laps here in Michigan.
Yeah, them guys have been working hard on that McDonald's Chevrolet. They've got that thing hooked up, and it's turning good laps. And he's pulling away from them pretty good right now, which is sort of surprising with the draft here. So, you know, they've been working real hard on that truck this week. Been practicing a whole lot. So, as you see, George Bark's going to try to close it down, but Jay Anderson still got a full second over.
Jay Anderson, George Park, 1 second away. Sal Liccardi now trying to get a little distance between him and Dean Heck. Dean Heck's got a little bit of distance between him and Daniel Miller, Ryan Borges, and Scott Brinson. But now you see the 06 and 02 do something very unique right here. They are running in line with each other. They are running nose to tail. The 06 of Daniel Miller, the 02 of Ryan Borges. These guys are starting to run nose to tail. They know that they are stronger if they get a draft going than if they run by themselves and continue to fight for position number 5. Plus, you know, the payout for position number 5 isn't always cool. You know what the better payout position is? Position number 1.
Yeah, these guys, looks like they're going to work together here a little bit, and that's it, man. You can get a bigger draft with the more trucks you got there together, and that's the way to do it if they want to catch that leader and run him down. And, you know, that's one thing they could about these guys. You see, George Bark is easing away from Sal Liccardi a little bit. But, you know, if they all gain up together and start running in the draft together, they can run these guys down very quick.
Very quick could be the call if they can continue to do it. You see it work for the 06 and 02. Now they are only, or the 06, I should say, is only a truck length and a half away from the 64 of Dean Heck. And now the 06 wants to dispatch the 64 of Dean Heck, get himself into position number 4 instead of Dean Heck right there in the hallcolorado.org machine. Can they do it? We'll have to hold on and find out, but it looks like together that group is starting to catch on Sal Liccardi. So the question is for Liccardi, what's he going to do? Is he going to continue to run the group, or is he going to back off and try to catch up with George Bark once again? George Bark doesn't need any help. He has been cutting down time on Jay Anderson like crazy. Last time around, he was only 0.8 of a second behind Jay Anderson. This time, about 3/4 of a second behind Jay Anderson is George Bark. George Bark is hunting right now, and he is working his way up to Jay Anderson.
Yeah, he's been cutting that lead down there pretty quick, and it looks like he's going to get in that draft here pretty soon. And he's been cutting it down about a 10th of a lap, so he's been running him down pretty solid here. We'll have to see if it holds on and he prevails. So when he gets close enough, he'll run him down even faster if he can keep that momentum going the way he's been through the turns.
He's got a lot of momentum on his side that time. Now only a half a second away from Jay Anderson. So George Bark, it's no longer a matter of if you will catch him, It's now a matter of when George Bark will catch Jay Anderson for position number 1, or at least do battle for position number 1. Salacardi still holds on to 3, but now he's starting to collect a little bit of the draft behind him as well. Dean Hack, Daniel Miller, Ryan Borges, Scott Brinston, they're all running in line now, and they were trying to see if they can catch up to your 1-2 duo. They need Jay Anderson and George Bark to do a little infighting amongst themselves to slow them down, and hope for this second group here to start making some moves and start catching up to him sooner rather than later. Last time around, they lost 0.2 of a second. Dean Hack and Salacardi making that switch. Caution back out on the field. Jay Anderson, George Bark, one hair at first and second. Caution looks like it's going to be involved. The 53 of Stephen Earp won last time, and I think his engine is done for the night, guys.
Yeah, it just looks like that. Let go. Trying to see what happened to him here.
The 53 of Stephen Earp, it was a solo spin for him, it looks like, down on the, going off turn number 1 and 2 into the backstretch, and he ends up pulling it off, going a little bit everywhere, back to the racing surface, mostly, though, on the, on that safer inner barrier, barrier as well, the safer inner concrete there at Michigan. Though he's going to spin back onto the racing surface, back through around, and then back ultimately on the racing surface. And Stephen Earp will bring out the caution flag once again for the evening.
Yeah, that's a tough break for these guys. We got to look at them here. They might be getting ready to hit pit road. I've been watching, and it looks like that little bit of run since we pitted, it's about 35 laps, so they might be able to stretch it to the finish here.
Base car is now going into turn number 3. Jay Anderson, George Bark, Dean Heck, Salacardi, Daniel Miller, your top 5, and the $64,000 question. Each of these drivers, everyone in the stands, everyone in the view is going to ask who's going to come down pit road and who's going to risk it all the way to the end. Time is absolutely running out here. If you're going to make a pit stop, you probably want to do it a little bit sooner rather than later. Jay Anderson is taking his nose down pit road. Jay Anderson will commit. He is now on pit road. George Bark's on pit road. Dean Heck, Salacardi, Daniel Miller, Ryan Borges, Scott Brinston, Ryan Cross, Travis Brown, Robert O'Neill. Everybody down on pit road to the attention of Jason Stout.
It looks like these guys are coming down here. Looks like everybody's wanting 4 tires, and we're going to pack this thing full of fuel. Looks like the 39 here, we're going 2 tires. And we're going to go around and we're going to see if they do 2 tires. I wouldn't expect anybody to do it. I'd say everybody wants 4 tires. It will be 4 tires on the 39 and the 36. We'll look who wins the race off pit road here. Looks like the 64 will win the race off pit road. I have to look back here and see if I believe he took 4 tires.
14.3 second stop for the 64 of Dean Heck, and it looks like he will barely win the race off pit road, right behind George Bark, Salacardi, and the 18 of Jay Anderson. Let's go ahead and take our final commercial break of the race and come back to you with the exciting conclusion of the Mrs. Dockside 250 here at Michigan International Speedway, part of the Pros League on LSRTV. Lights are off here at Michigan International Speedway for the Mrs. Dockside 250, and we're going to go back to racing in just about a half lap here. Dean Heck, your pole sitter, back in position number 1. George Bark, Sal Carty, Jay Anderson, Brian Cross, your top 5. Ryan Borges, Daniel Miller, Scott Brinson, Robert O'Neill, and Travis Brown, your top 10. And I've got a feeling we have not put away the caution flag for the last time tonight, Jason.
Yeah, these guys have been pretty aggressive. They've been ready to go, and this just makes them even more anxious driving around under pace laps. So that just makes it a little worse for things than lining them up too wide. And we're in for a show either way it goes.
Either way it goes, we are definitely getting ready for a showdown here in the Mrs. Dockside 250, presented by the Professional Racing Online Series. Dean Heck, George Bark on the front row, getting ready to go back to the business of racing here as soon as the first racing Ford Mustang pace car cuts back down to the safety of pit road. Heck, Bark, the way we started this race will be the way we restart here on lap number 92. And Dean Heck wants a little bit of retribution. He's going to hit the hammer hard, and he is going to go down and away into turn number 1 and 2 with this lead. George Bark can't fight off Salicardi. The bite might be stronger of a Cardi. Jay Anderson starting to wiggle out there. Ryan Borges with a little bit of a nervous look on his face. Ryan Borges almost retracts it into turn number 2. Able to save it now, almost 3 wide. The 18, the 02, the 78, all doing battle in front of the 39 and 36 doing battle as well.
Everybody's wanting to get out front here. Everybody's real hard on the hammers. 78's coming up into the picture. That's Brian Cross. He's up to 6. And 39, and Sal Carty's going to be looking for second up here on George Bark. That's 64 is loving it, pulling away.
64 continues to run in front of this field. George Bark now has to yield to the 39 and Salicardi, but it won't do it without a fight. Here comes Jay Anderson in the 18. They're going to continue to run nose to tail off of turn 2 into the backstretch. 39, 50, 39, 18, 78, 36, all in the mix right now, but they're starting to break away. Dean Heck continues to break away in the Howell, Colorado machine. The 64 continues in position number 1.
These guys are going to pull here together. The 36 and 39 looks like they're drafting right here. The 18's with them here. They're going to get a big run on Dean Heck. He better keep that hammer down because these boys are coming.
The 06 of Daniel Miller made heavy contact with the wall coming off of turn number 4, and that is going to cost him. He has dropped from the top 5 to now into the top 12. And his drop might not be done there. He's dropped now behind Jeremy Crandall. So that's going to score that 06 machine, plus or minus position number 15 on the field. Hard Racing will do that to you. As speaking of Hard Racing, it's now picking up front. Dean Heck, Salicardi, George Bark. Your top 3 have caught your leader.
You got George Bark looking here to the outside out of 4. He's going to do a little side drafting here with Salicardi down the front. Trying to get a run on these guys. He's trying to make that outside work again. We see, he pulls a crossover on him. Then looks back to the outside. These guys are too wide up here. Too wide, too deep.
Battle for the lead will be the 64, the 39 as a drag race down the backstretch. The 78 looking for someone to go with. He doesn't know where to go. 3 wide now as the 18 goes low. The 36, the 39, the 18, they're all going to go 3 wide right behind your leader. The 78's going to jam his nose in there and look for somewhere to go. 18 and 78 make contact. The 18 getting loose, trying to make contact with the 78. And now the 18 able to save it. The 78, though, in big trouble. Here comes the 02 trying to get around him. Mack behind him, George Bark using literally every piece of this racetrack to try to get around the 39.
Yeah, the only person that got any good out of that's George Bark. He's got, like I said, he's got his eyes set on that 39. He's trying to keep it on the high side, trying to get away from those guys behind him as they're battling it out there for 5th. And that's a good little battle we got going on here. It's Ryan Borges is going to look on the inside of Brian Cross. That's pulling the 77 of Robert O'Neill into the picture. And he's up here looking to make top 5.
39 in trouble. 39 South Guardian in trouble. He makes contact with the 36. The 18 goes spinning around. Your top 3 lead contenders. They have caused a big one here. The 10's involved now. The 77 got a piece of it. The 53's in the dirt. George Bark and a bunch of other cars in trouble. And that will bring out the caution flag once again.
Huge wreck. Major damage on these trucks. Oh, man. That was a big one right there.
It all starts with the 39 of Salicardi going into turn number 4, gets loose, tries to save it, knowing he can't afford to drop position, continues to try to save it. Nothing. He ends up getting loose, getting onto the transition, overcorrects it. Next thing you know, he is straight into the 36 and the 18. Both those cars go around, those trucks go around, and the 39 makes contact with the wall. 18 makes heavier contact with the wall. The 18 goes spinning around like a top. The 39 makes front-end damage with the 10 machine. The 18 machine, his night might be, for all intents and purposes, done. The 06 of Daniel Miller forced to cut into the grass. The 53 of Stephen Earp, he's going to nearly buy the farm out there. And the 10, he goes deep into the infield, and that is going to cost him a lot of position out there. So a handful of trucks involved, but most dramatically, the 39 and the 18. But the 39 of Salicardi, heavy smoke pouring out of that car, that truck. His night is done.
Yeah, that's going to mix things up here once again. We got the most dominant trucks was in that wreck. The guys that's had the best run, so that's going to bring a whole new field of players in here for this win. As you see these guys heading down to pit road here, is going to get 4 tires and try to beat these dents out here and try to get it back here out on the track. As we've seen the guys stay out that had 4 fresh tires there on the last stop, they're going to stay out this time. They got enough fuel to the finish.
So George Bark comes off of pit road trying to salvage his night. That truck beat up now as a result of that contact. He will restart plus or minus 13th on this field. Back up front, Dean Heck now has some brand new life in that 64 Chevrolet. He could very easily walk away with the win now. Brian Cross second, Ryan Borges third, Robert O'Neill now fourth, and Scott Brinston, despite making contact with the wall, he should be plus or minus position number 5. And you said it perfectly right there, Jason. I think you're absolutely right. We now have a brand new group of contenders, guys who have been kind of biding their time all night and having a slow evening. These are the guys now that are absolutely going to be in charge of running this race now and have a good shot at winning this race. Guys like Dean Heck, guys like Brian Cross in the Colorado machine, who's now back up in the mix. Travis Brown, Jeremy Crandall, Gary Cleaver. These are guys who've been running consistently top 10, top 15 all night, trying to stay out of trouble. Now with a clean truck, they've got a shot to win it here in Michigan.
Yeah, you said it right there. They've just been staying out of trouble, trying to keep their truck clean. And, you know, we've got fuel to the finish, so these guys are just going to stay out here. And, you know, that's the way to do it, is just ride back and sort of wait on it. But they got it lucked out for some guys, some guys that didn't work out for them here. But, yeah, this new field of players here, that's the ones who's going to benefit from this caution and going to make it real exciting here. And we know these guys can get pretty aggressive. We've seen it several times, so it's going to be a wild finish.
When we go back to Green Flag Racing, it will be less than 25 laps left to go on the field here in the Mrs. Dockside 250, presented by Kim Dolan Realtor out there in the Oxnard area. So with 25 laps left to go, it should make for some very interesting racing. When we go back to Green Flag Racing, it should make for some very interesting situations.
Yeah, you've already seen these guys are real thirsty for that beer money, and you know that's the first thing on their mind is go, go, go. So, and these guys have been real aggressive here on the restart. It's been wild to watch. These guys get these trucks completely sideways, just hang it out there and just go for it more or less. But, you know, with these guys, the only good thing about these long cautions, these guys can get this damage fixed. And as pit crews have been down there working their tails off trying to beat these dents out of these trucks and trying to get them back out here on the track. So as we see Jay Anderson's back out, George Barks are still out here going to give it a good try. But I believe Dean Heck might have lucked out. He was just far enough ahead where he didn't get caught up in that mess.
So Dean Heck will get back the lead. You got to give a lot of credit to Dean right now being back in this position. He lost position early in the race, but he didn't panic. He didn't fret. There was nothing for him to do. All he could do was just wait and bide his time to get back around where he could take away the lead once again. And now you've seen it by playing this race very patient, by playing it as a long race. Dean Heck is back in position number 1 on the field. And he's got a very good opportunity here to walk away with it and ultimately win tonight's race.
Yeah, they're sitting good up here in the front here. We're doubled up going for this restart. You know, we got 25, 24 laps left, and these guys got to ride it out here. And, you know, we can't win it right now. We gotta win it on the last lap. Let's see if we can make it. It'll be a good battle if they can, because, you know, these guys have been squeezing each other down, pinching each other, and trying to get a draft, side drafting each other. So it's going to get real close, and it'll probably do it real fast.
It's going to get very busy in a hurry. 24 left to go when we go back to green flag racing in just 2 turns time. With a lot of cars now starting to drop from the field. What was a 22 truck field will ultimately be a 15 truck field here at Michigan. It's going to make for some very close quarters racing. Almost at the point where everybody gets paid out if you're finishing at all now on the field, but we'll have to see exactly how that plays out here with only a handful of laps left to go. 24 when we go back to the green flag, when we go back to the start-finish line. The pace car will make its way down pit road. This time, Dean Heck will take away the lead. Well, started by Brian Cross, Ryan Borges, green flag in the air, and there goes the 64. He drops it, the hammer, and he is down and away. Battle for immediately for position number 2 as Ryan Borges doing everything he can to hold off Brian Cross. They will drag race through into the turns 1 and 2. Brian Cross holds off Ryan Borges. Ryan Borges will get position number 2 over Brian Cross. Robert O'Neill, Travis Brown. Oh, the 0-2's now in the wall.
0-2, tagged the ball there off of 2. Looks like he got a little loose or something there, and he got it real good, broke his momentum. It's going to let Brian Cross get up here to second, and we see the 77 squeeze through there. And these guys are going to try to take advantage of him slipping up here, because Dean Heck's just pulling away again.
Ryan Borges drops from second to fourth as a result of that overdriven corner, and he might lose even more position as well. Meanwhile, Dean Heck now getting some crossfire from Brian Cross. Robert O'Neill trying to get back in the mix. Ryan Borges doing everything he can to hold off Travis Brown and company behind him. A bunch of sharks driving as hard as they can to try to get up front and try to challenge for this win. The blood is in the water now, guys, and they are doing everything they can to try to get a little taste. Dean Heck, Brian Cross, Robert O'Neill, still your top 3.
Oh yeah, everybody's going for the lead. They want to lead the lap, and they want to lead the most. You see the 78, they've run down Dean Heck here in the 64, and let's see if he falls in line here, if he tries to take the position from him.
64, 78 now battling almost side by side. The 78's going to consider going underneath the 64. 78 will make the move. He's going to make the move going into turns 3 and 4. Ryan Cross, Dean Heck, they are going to go side by side. Heck has nowhere to go but backwards, and he will give away the position to Brian Cross. The 78 Colorado machine, he is now going to take away the lead with only a handful of laps left to go. With only 21 laps left to go on the field, it will be Brian Cross leading for the first time. Robert O'Neill once again in position number 2. Dean Heck can't fight him off. Then, well, we might be able to yet. He's going to hold off on the high side in turn number 2. 77 can't fight with him. So 77 is forced to drop back. What was supposed to be a completed pass, it's not going to happen now. The 77 has to reevaluate as he wants to get around the 64 of Dean Heck.
Yeah, he's trying to follow the 78 of Brian Cross through there when he made his pass, but he just didn't have a big enough run to clear him before he got to the corner. He got hung up there on his door. It looked like the 64 just got to the gas a little bit faster and took off and pulled on him there a little bit. As Brian Cross is going to stretch it out here to 0.4 of a second real quick. He ain't waiting around. He's trying to get away from these guys.
They're doing everything he can to get around and ultimately walk away with this race. 20 to go as Brian Cross, Dean Heck, Robert O'Neill, still your top 3. Travis Brown now in good position. Ryan Borges still holding on to the top 5. And then there's George Park. Despite being involved in that major incident, he is back to position number 6 now. The problem is he's 2 1/4 seconds behind your leader, so with less than 20 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line, I don't know that George Bark still has a pony in the show.
Yeah, I was looking at his truck there. It don't look like he has too much damage still. Pit crew did a good job at working on it. I seen him pit there twice, and he took 4 tires, the first time, and then he may have hit it twice. But anyway, they beat the dents out of it, got it fairly straight. He's trying to get a draft up here off of Ryan Borges. He's running a good solid top 5. And Travis Brown's made his way up to 4th.
So Brian Cross continuing to try to break away from the field. Not going to happen there, as he's got Gene Heck and Robert O'Neill still battling back and forth for that second position. And I've got a feeling if these guys can get organized, they might be able to challenge Brian Cross for the lead. Though it might be too little too late, as Brian Cross continues to jump away. Over a half second now on Dean Heck and Robert O'Neill together. So these two drivers, they continue to battle for position number 2. Brian Cross looks like he's already getting ready to cash his check for position number 1.
Yeah, I was watching him run through the field here, during the race, and it looked like he had a pretty decent truck. He was just trying to take his time and make the right moves. It looks like it's paying off for him there. As he's out here leading this thing. But yeah, these guys, Dean Heck and Robert O'Neill, they'll be working together pretty hard trying to run him down here. As they are catching him a little bit, we'll just see how much they can catch him working together. Or if when they get there, if they stick together, or if they split up and lose the draft again.
Let's put it this way for a little bit of context there, Jason. Last time around, they were 0.6 of a second behind. Now they're only 0.3 of a second behind. I think they're catching them. I think they're catching them in a hurry. Dean Heck now almost 3 truck lengths away from the 78 of Brian Cross. Cross looks like he might have a little bit of damage on that right side. Not enough to affect his race, though, as he continues to run away. But here comes the 64 of Dean Heck. Dean Heck looks like he's going to try to make a valiant last-ditch effort to try to catch a 78 and ultimately pass him. He has 16 laps to go, still anybody's race.
Yeah, he got a big run coming down off of 4 there and down the front stretch and closed that all the way down. He's right there on Brian Cross as you see him trying to shake the draft, going low and then back high, snaking down the back stretch. The 64 is looking low here. He's going to try to get the draft. He's going to go ahead and take the lead here. Going down the front. The 77's going to hopefully start battling so he can close back in as the 64's caught up on Brian Cross. He sort of left him back there, but the 77's got the draft again, coming back down into 1 as he's going to make the move on the 64 now.
The 64 of Dean Heck somehow loses the momentum he had just a moment ago on Brian Cross. Might have hit just a wall of solid air as he tried to make the pass on the high side. Now he's going to have to go back to working with the 77 of Robert O'Neill to try to catch up with the 78. The 78 doing everything he can to hold on to that position. 14 to go as we cross the start-finish line, and Brian Cross looking stronger and stronger with every lap that passes. Dean Heck, Robert O'Neill trying to make it position number 2, the decision position number 2. O'Neill continuing to run behind Heck. I've got a feeling that O'Neill isn't running for position number 2. He's trying to catch up with your leader so he can compete for position number 1.
Heck yeah, but he's going to need the help of Robert O'Neill there if they're going to catch this draft there. Because Brian Cross pulled away from him there at the first. And, they reeled him back down, but as soon as the 64 and 77 got separated, they've lost the draft on him there a little bit. They're still fairly close, but it looks like they're going to need each other to make it around the 78. We'll have to see if they work together here in the closing laps. But right now they're working together pretty good. If they stay connected there a little bit, they should run him down fairly quick there so they get a big run. Coming down into 1 and 2, and that's going to carry off onto the back stretch. They're just going to have to keep working together.
Jason, I'm still keeping an eye here on the 36 of George Bark in position number 4 because he's starting to catch up time on your leaders and on second and third place. Brian Cross, Dean Heck, Robert O'Neill right now have about a second on George Bark, a second and a half between the leader and George Bark, but every time around, George Bark is just catching a little bit of time, a little bit more time each and every time around. That time he picked up 0.3 of a second. So I've got a feeling that if everything goes George Bark's way, he might still be competing for the win out here. Back up front, we have a lead change up front, and Dean Heck will take away the position from the 78 of Brian Cross. Robert O'Neill along for the ride as well. Robert O'Neill wants to try to get position as well. Now you see the 64 weaving back and forth, trying to figure out which line he wants to run with. He's going to take the very wide line out there, leaving the 78 and 77 to continue the battle side by side.
Yeah, if he's smart, he'll stick with that 77. That's pushed him up there to the lead there. He needs to hang with it. They got a lap car to contend with here on the high side. That's going to throw a pick. 77, who said has a pick, and he does on the 78 there. He probably could have stuck it on the outside, but it's safer just to fall in line. As they pull on this 64, that was a good move he pulled to get the lead, and then he's been pulling hard, trying to draft here on the 64.
He now runs side by side, split screen with George Bark in number 36 as he continues to just dig away and take away time from your leaders. Less than a second now between George Bark and your top three, which means George Bark still might just have something left in his gas tank for these leaders. Now just about a half second between your leader and George Bark. So George Bark, don't count him out yet. He's trying to pull a Kevin Harvick here as he tries to dig away with 10 to go.
He's running back down. He's caught the top three guys with them battling there. But that battle for the lead, that's what allowed George Bark to catch up to these guys. It looks like he's got the draft now, and he's going to be looking to make a move when he gets up on them. So we got a change for the lead up here. Robert O'Neill ain't waiting around. He wants to lead a lap. And so we'll see if the 64 can hold him off. But for right now, Robert O'Neill's going to hold on to the lead, and he does. And he almost makes it clear, we've seen him push the 64 up there all the way through the field. And he's still working on it, trying to get him cleared. We'll have to see who the 78 pushes. Looks like somebody that you need a pusher here to help you get fast in that draft. You really don't need them right against you, but you need somebody close helping you along the way.
9 laps to go, 8 when he crosses the start-finish line, and this race will be decided between one of 4 drivers. Robert O'Neill, Dean Heck, Brian Cross, and George Bark, all doing business now up front in that top 4. And right now, Dean Heck is being credited as your leader over Robert O'Neill. When they cross the scoring stripe officially, it will be Dean Heck first, Robert O'Neill second, George Bark third, Brian Cross in fourth. Going into turns 1 and 2, Dean Heck has the advantage. As long as he can keep some traffic in the mix between them, he can make it work. Now George Bark trying to challenge for the lead in the Barks competition, karting Chevy. It's going to be a box formation, side by side, 2 by 2. They go down the back straightaway, looking for a little bit of position, looking for a little bit of redemption, as both those drivers, your top 2 who started this race, first and second, will end this race first and second, it seems. They run side by side through 3 and 4, no change, as now they go through the scoring position where they cross the start-finish line, and it will be George Bark, officially your leader, on lap 119, 7 to go.
As George Bark's fighting for that lead, man, he's trying to make that outside work. It's got him there so far. He's going to stick with it. We see Brian Cross is trying to follow him through here to get that second place. Seen these guys work the outside here a couple of times. I mean, they've really stuck that in their back pocket, and they've really used that here at the end of the race, and it's really paying off for them. As the 78 don't complete the pass and falls in line behind the 64. The 36, we've seen him get out front and lead a little bit. Let's see if he can pull away here as they try to reel him back in after he got that big run off the 4.
George Bark now starting to break away from Dean Heck, Robert O'Neill, and Brian Cross. Brian Cross, the man who would be leader, continuing to try to dig out there with 6 laps left to go, 5.5 as we get to the backstretch. George Bark pulling away. Dean Heck doesn't want to let him, and I've got a feeling this race just got decided between 2 drivers. George Bark, Dean Heck, going into turns 3 and 4, getting ready to finish up business here at Michigan International Speedway in the Mrs. Dockside 250, part of the professional online racing series. 5 to go, and they cross the stripe. George Bark starting to get a lock on it. He might just win this thing yet.
They got enough time right here. If that 77 will work with the 64, they can run them down and they can catch them, and it'll be a good race. It looks like that 64 needs a little help. Not sure if they have any damage or anything, but it just looks like they need each other to be fast as George Park's still pulling away. And it's going to be close here to the finish. These guys are just going as hard as they can right here, trying to get that money, trying to win this race.
George Bark seems to have had all the bad luck on this race. He came in before the caution flag. He was involved in a late race incident, but yet George Bark has found a way to continue to move up through this race and now lead it with 4 laps to go. 4 circuits around Michigan, and they've got to be clean circuits. Remember, there is a green-white checkered finish in this series, and if the race does not end clean, they will attempt the green-white checkered, which is something George Bark does not want to see.
Yeah, that made me a little nervous here. You got several trucks that's running slow around the speedway that's got damage on them. You see them flash by the screen every once in a while when these leaders zoom by them. But, you got to contend with them too and hope one of them don't cause a yellow, because that could throw a whole nother. We've seen this thing mix up so many times, and so many different players come to the front. Could make this a whole nother ballgame if the yellow comes out. But for right now, George Bark's pulling away, and he's got that hammer down, and looks like he might be the one to contend with here.
Gets to turns 1 and 2 cleanly now on the back straightaway. He's got over a half second on Dan Heck in second. Robert O'Neill, he's got over a second on Robert O'Neill. He's got well over a second on Brian Cross. Your top 4, that was so competitive just 4 laps ago. Now absolutely spread out through the field as George Bark takes it away. Popsicle sticks in the air, this time by 2 to go. And it will be George Bark continuing to lead. Nobody in front of him, nobody around him. George Bark just has to hope that it stays clean for the next 2 laps.
We got a good battle going on here for 5th. These guys was coming too wide off of 4. These guys are racing real hard to get 5th. Remember, they pay out to the top 12 spots, so everybody's going hard to get that position, get that higher payout for these guys. And these guys are showing it here at the finish. They're driving with all they got right here. You see Jay Anderson, he was involved in an earlier accident, worked his way up to 8th here, and looking real good as he challenges Travis Brown for 7th.
White flag flies, 1 to go. The race is in the books no matter what happens here. George Bark just has to hold on for what has turned into a parade lap for the Barks Competition Karting Chevrolet. George Bark on the back straight, completes it clean. 2 more turns, and he will have won the Mrs. Dockside 250 here at Michigan International Speedway. Into turns 3 and 4 now. George Bark, nobody around him, 1.2 seconds to his nearest competitor. George Bark is taking it away from the back to the front. He will be the winner of the Mrs. Dockside 250 as he crosses the start-finish line. First on the field, Dean Heck second, Robert O'Neill third, Brian Cross fourth, Daniel Miller 5th, and in that battle for 6th, it will be Ryan Borges for 6th, Jay Anderson 7th, Travis Brown 8th, Kerry Cleaver 9th, Jeremy Crandall rounding out your top 10. The last 2 paying spots in the field, Christopher Lorenz and James Hickson, both finishing on the lead lap. Jason, George Bark, did you think at any point he would walk away after being involved in a bad pit stop in a wreck? Did you have any idea he would walk away with a win?
I watched him come up to the field there, and I really didn't think he'd come out with the win. I knew it would be real close, and it would be a great finish, but I didn't think he'd be able to walk away from these guys like that. But what a great job they did, and pit crew did a good job. He got in that little incident, and they had to beat the dents out of that thing a little bit, but they kept fighting and got him back up through the field there, and they kept digging, and there they go, doing victory donuts. And that's what hard work for you'll do right there. Lots of practice and lots of hard work and a good pit crew.
George Barks lights them up, and he is going to celebrate his big win here in the Mrs. Dockside 250 at Michigan International Speedway. When we return, we'll talk to your top 3 drivers, recap the race, and what's really been a lot of fun racing here at Michigan International Speedway. George Bark, your winner. We'll return and talk to him next here on LSR TV. George Bark, your winner here in the Mrs. Dockside 250 here at Michigan International Speedway, part of the Pros League, going from all kinds of trouble to win here at Michigan International Speedway live on LSRTV. Brian Cross second, Robert O'Neill third, Jeremy Crandall fourth, Jay Anderson your top five, Chris Lorenz, James Hickson, Dean Hick, Daniel Miller, Ryan Borges your top 10, Travis Brown 11th, Kerry Cleaver 12th, Cecil Renee, Eric Wortley, Stephen Irv, Scott Brinson, Sal Cardi, Andrew Heigl, Ralph Shipman, Danny Rude, Fearless Falcons, Nick Giles, rounding out your field of 22 tonight. The big winner, though, is going to be the 36 of George Bark, and he's found a way to get up front through this field. And George, after everything you've been through tonight, did you imagine that victory lane was an option for you at all?
I had a plan, and I stuck to it early there. I was just trying to keep as much fuel in the truck as I can to keep it as free to neutral as possible. That was my biggest plan. But getting in that accident there with Sal and Jay with 25 to go was almost a godsend, because it gave me that much more than the top 3 or 4 had there. I got lucky, be straight with you.
Walk us through that incident, George. What exactly happened from where you were sitting? And you say it was a godsend. What made it so beneficial for you?
If we had to go that whole run, if Sal didn't, get loose there and spin around, that would have been a battle on a long run, because we would have almost ran the fuel out for the most part. We probably never would have pitted for tires. It would have been a wrong move, I feel. But getting wrecked there and getting tires, getting it fixed back up, starting, the track position was still good at that point. Restarting 10th or 12th or 8th, wherever I restarted, it wasn't too distant from the leaders, to run them down there when they had 6 to 10 laps on their tires, plus, probably 5 gallons less of fuel than I had. My stuff was just more neutral at the end of the race than theirs was. Their stuff seems like it got tight.
Pit strategy seemed to be the big thing for you there, to find a way to get up front. How critical was your pit strategy all the way through the race, and how much did you have to adjust that as a result of different incidents?
I didn't make any changes on the first stop. The second stop, which was going to bring me to 90 to 100 for my final, I freed it up a little bit, and it was too free on a short run. It would have been fine for like 30, 35 laps. But I went back to what I started with, but my baseline, what I started the race off with, and it was good for that last 25. Other than that, I felt like I had a good truck. It was a strong truck. It was just, it was balanced for the most part. Dean had a great truck. Sal, it's too bad what happened there, losing a motor. He had a fast truck. He was able to keep it on the bottom and still make it rotate. And Jay was, the dominant one all night. I felt he had to watch out for him because he had so much, power there. And it's too bad for him getting, in that accident there and ending his night. It took him out of the race for the win. But my competitors, I can't thank them. They all raced me clean. That was great racing there. Throughout the race, up front, it was good racing, I feel.
George, big win for you tonight here in the Mrs. Dockside 250. Who makes it work for you? Who makes this race what it was? And who ultimately got you up here to victory late tonight?
My teammate, Brian Cross. We bounced a lot of information off each other this week. Same with Jay. We're exchanging setups, helping each other out. Gary Bauer helping us out. He couldn't make it tonight. I guess he has some other plans he run into to do. Jeremy Crandall bouncing, he actually gave me a baseline setup to work with last week, and we just kept tweaking on it for the last week and a half, and what we ended up with. I can't thank him enough. All my friends that come and hang out with me, man, that make it all possible here at the Professional Racing Online Series. Just want to thank everybody.
That is George Bark finishing first here tonight in the Mrs. Dockside 250, part of the Pros League. George, congratulations on a big finish. We'll look forward to seeing you back on track again in a couple weeks.
Thanks, Joe.
That is George Bark finishing first here tonight. Let's go ahead and take it down to Jason Stout, who's caught up their second place finisher, Brian Cross.
We got Brian Cross here, the no, driver number 78. Hey man, that's a great run, great finish for you, man. Congrats. How in the world did you make it through that middle part of the race there?
Man, just keep my nose straight, just being patient. I mean, most of the race I hung out in huge packs is extremely stressful to say the least. And I don't know, I found the right lane in every single situation, and I snuck through here and there, and man, I almost had the win there. I just got way too tight there on the end of the run and couldn't hold them off.
Yeah, well, you did a great job and good job at driving that thing, man. And congrats on your finish there. Anybody you want to thank? Any shout outs?
Oh yeah, definitely. I gotta thank everybody. Bark Competition Carding, do a lot for me. They sponsor my real race card. I do a lot for them here. Can't thank them enough. George Bark, Jeremy Crandall, Off the Wall Performance, BMS Chassis, Do It Right Painting, Moneybag Graphics, Lance Johnson for painting my Colorado truck. That thing is slick. I love it. Everybody out there that enjoyed watching the race tonight, and thanks for coming out and letting us put on this great show, man.
Awesome, man. Sounds great. Well, congrats on your second place finish there, man.
And I'll do it. And that shouldn't, as we try to catch up with your third place finisher, Robert O'Neill. He just packed it back up to the garage and said, you know, we're going to get the car back on the hauler and call it a night here. And it was a good run, and we'll be back ready to get back at it here in a couple of weeks with the Pros Series. That'll do it for our coverage here at Michigan International Speedway. Our thanks, as always, goes to the Professional Racing Online League. Want the money? Come and get it every Thursday night with a Beer Money Series. $15 entry fee if you free to qualify in, though. Check it out at prosleague.com. Pros-league.com, home of the Professional Racing Online Series. Mrs. Dockside herself, Kim Dolan, presenting as the official sponsor of the Professional Racing Online Series. If you need a home out there in Ventura County, a houseboat, whatever you need, Mrs. Dockside herself will take care of it for you. Visit her website online. It'll be KimDolanRealtor.com. Kim Dolan Realtor, also known as Mrs. Dockside, presenting the Pros Racing League. On behalf of our entire broadcast crew, my partner in crime, Jason Stouter, executive producer and camera operator, Laura Lawson, I am Joe Cortez, congratulating George Bark once again on a big finish here tonight. We'll be back with the Pros League in 2 weeks' time when we go racing once again here on LSRTV. Until then, good night, everybody.
Couldn't think of nothing else. I was trying like hell.
Westbound, I've been rubbing my Lucky Hazelnut this morning.
Captain Herb gives me all the information I need.
Listen to the radio. Listen to Captain
Joining us
Herb.
live again. What is the detritus causing the detour in I-575? Do we know?
Captain Herb's really cute. He's really entertaining. Scott Slade is really fun.
Hey, traffic's going to be okay. You'll be okay. You'll get home today.
Switch, turn on the Captain Gabriel. He's uptown looping fuel to someone here. I've been rubbing my Lucky Hazelnut this morning. Look out of Traffic Tracker 2 and see if we can see everything so far. I-85 southbound. Well, anyway, the early birds my Lucky Hazelnut this morning. Mountain Highway.
Tried to ask myself and the whole traffic team to put themselves in that driver's seat and sort of be thinking ahead. What is the next thing that person stuck in that traffic jam wants to know?
Captain Herb joins us live again. What is the detritus causing the detour in I-575? Do we know?
Oh, my aching toe. That's how I feel almost every day watching your commute.
Right now, some new trouble reported on the inner loop of the property. Bring it on up. It's okay on I-85. So if you know people that work with the Cobb County Fire Department, Police Department, they deserve a pat on the back of this morning. They have their hands full. Westbound, I've been rubbing my lucky hazelnut this morning. Everybody, headlights off.
Listen to the radio. Listen to Captain Herb.
We're looking for the pot of gold on 285. Crashes reported. Oh, it's brand new trouble here. Just saw 2 cars spin out. One's gone all the way from the HOV lane over into the median here.
He always made us feel like, hey, traffic's going to be okay. You'll be okay. You'll get home.
This morning, hoping that it'll be a nice ride through that construction zone. Let's look out at Traffic Tracker 2 and see if we can see the bluebird of happiness on I-85 southbound.